It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, hope you're doing all right today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian restaurant located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's to get an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Turning Stone Resort and Casino and their next live boxing event, which is October 21st. It's an HBO event. I'm going to be ringside, and you should be too. What a great card we will see. So come on up to the Turning Stone. Get yourself some tickets right now. You can get to the Turning Stone box office online by visiting our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and clicking on the Turning Stone banner, which is down on the right-hand side, or just go to turningstone.com and go into the, the box office. Make sure you tell them Billy C sent you. And today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. You can get a copy of it right now while you're watching or listening to this show. Just go to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting you educated on my man Tom Molyneux. And by the way, if you're looking to get a signed copy, don't worry about that. Just visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book. You can't miss it. Or just come up and see me at the Turning Stone on October 21st. I will have some copies with me. And by the way, speaking of signed copies, I screwed up 2 weeks ago. I ordered the same order of books twice. So I got an abundance of them right now, and that's going to benefit you, because if you order a book anywhere between now, or I should say any time between now and the end of the month, which is Halloween, blah, 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 I will sell you, as long as you're in the United States, a copy, including shipping, signed for $20 a piece. So drop me an email if you're interested in that. Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com. On today's show, a little bit later, we will have Dax Khan join us. We also are going to talk a little bit about the heavyweight division. Some things crossed my mind this weekend when I was going through the fights and so on and so forth. Especially, I got some more heavyweight news to talk about, some more BS out of Deontay Fraud Wilder's mouth. So all of that's going to come up in a little bit. But first, the World Boxing Super Series, I love it. And although I picked him to win, I wasn't too keen on Chris Eubank Jr. But, man, did he score a spectacular knockout over Anvi Yildirim over the weekend or not? He hands Yildirim his first loss. Chris Eubank Jr. improves to 26-1 with 20 knockouts. And he picked up his 20th with a third-round knockout, which was a brutal knockout. I mean, he just dropped this guy, and the referee waved it off immediately. The World Boxing Super Series has given us two really good knockouts now. One in the cruiserweight division, one in the the super middleweight division from this week. So joining me right now from St. Simon's Island, Georgia, is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, did you get a chance to see Chris Eubank's knockout over Mr. Robot, Anvi Yildirim?
I called that fight too for Eubank, but I'll tell you what, that's queued up. I'm going to watch that knockout right away after the show. I was watching the Eubank. Okay. I was watching Crawler and Burns. All right, well, which was a very good fight as well.
I didn't get to that one yet. And actually, I don't even have it. Tell us about that one, Sal. Go ahead. You tell us about
Crawler Ricky Burns.
Yeah. I know Crawler won. Crawler won the fight, but go ahead. Give us the...
Okay, Crawler won the fight, but I'll tell you what. It was a good fight. I think Ricky Burns was just maybe a little bit too tentative, and they were not having to look for each other. They met in the middle of the ring. It could have been fought in a phone booth, and it was a great exchange. Hello?
Yeah, your sound we just lost... Sal's sound, but we'll get back to him in 1 second. I apologize for that. But one other fight, Sal was telling us about Ricky Burns and Anthony Crawler's fight. So we will get back to him in a second here. But some other fights that I wanted to take a look at was from Friday night, actually. Christian Gonzalez. Coming back from his first loss, which took place earlier this year, got back on the winning track when he fought an 8-round unanimous decision over former world champ Gamiel Diaz to improve to 18-1 with 15 knockouts. Diaz drops to 40-18. It was a tough fight, but Chimpa gets back on track. Sal, are you there?
I'm here.
Something's up with your video. It's very, very, very unfiltered. But go ahead. Finish telling us about Anthony Crawler and Ricky Burns.
Great fight. I mean, it was a very good fight. Some rounds were very close, and it looked like Crawler was able to steal some of the rounds that I was leaning first towards Ricky Burns. Ricky Burns just at times looked like he was engaging and looked like he was going to win a round, but Crawler came back with some good body shots and kept himself in the pocket to fit the exchange there. Like I said, it was a good fight. I do give the fight unanimously to Crawler, and he got a lot of the middle rounds, and he just kept coming up, and he was a little stronger, but great fight, great exchange. They never had to look for each other, and you had the great jab from Ricky Burns. He had a good jab, solid, but again, Crawler was able to get around it, hit him with some good body shots, and I think that was the difference, was Crawler was going to the body a little bit more, and he was a little more effective with that.
Well, as Sal scores it, the official scoring was the same. Unanimous decision for Anthony Crawler, giving him... this was a battle between two former world champs, so we'll see what happens next for each of them. Another fight I wanted to take a look at actually got me thinking a lot about the heavyweight division. We've been talking a lot about the heavyweights, and a lot of he said, she said, and, we got that whole situation with Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz, and something just doesn't smell right, and then Deontay Wilder can't, keep his hands off of his Twitter account, and he keeps, saying everybody's afraid of him, which is not the case. I mean, please. But let's take a look, first and foremost, a fight that took place early Saturday, if you're here in the States. Osborne Machimena wins the South African heavyweight title against Justice Silva, which, the only reason why I'm mentioning this fight is because I want to try and take a look at heavyweights that are in the mix based on their records and experience level, et cetera, plus considering that Deontay Wilder likes to pick, fighters that aren't good to fight. I just hope he doesn't pick Osborne Machimena because Machimena weighed over 300 pounds. He's 39 years old, 6'3.5" tall. His record is 23 wins, 10 losses, and 2 draws. He's got 17 knockouts of his 23 wins, and he himself was knocked out 6 times of his 10 losses. The computer sees him at 162. I would hope that Deontay Wilder doesn't even think of this guy, and not that he has thought of this guy, but I just wanted to mention because it's a segue into this guy. Sam Sexton improved to 24-3 with 9 knockouts when he scored a unanimous 12-round decision over Gary Cornish. Gary Cornish drops to 24-2. It took place in Scotland on the undercard, I believe, of the Anthony Crowler and Ricky Burns fight. 116, 114, 116, 113, 115, 114, all in favor of Sam Sexton. Now, I want to take a look at Sam Sexton because this is a name that kind of popped up. I remember Sam Sexton when he fought Martin Rogan, and I loved that whole Martin Rogan two-fight series that he had. I was a fan of Martin Rogan, Irish fighter that turned out just to be a brute. But in any event, Sam Sexton, he's got a record right now, like I said, of 24 wins and 3 losses, 9 coming by knockouts. His 3 losses all came by knockout. He was stopped not once but twice by Derek Chisora and David Price when David Price was on a tear. This guy is got a couple of good wins, Larry Olawambo, and his latest win against Gary Cornish. He also had the 2 wins against Martin Rogan. Here's the thing. He's not ranked in any of the major sanctioning bodies, but yet he's ranked in the top 15. I'm saying he's not ranked in any of the sanctioning bodies in their top 15. The computer sees him at number 55, but here's the reason why I'm bringing him up. Sam Sexton is a tough guy, Sal, and there's a young fighter named Otto Whalen who happens to be in the top 15 of all 3 of the sanctioning bodies. The number 11 at the WBA, number 13 at the IBF, and number 14 in the WBO. Otto Whalen is 26 years old, 7 years younger than Sam Sexton. He's a southpaw. He's a little taller at 6'5 and a half. Sam Sexton's 6'2". His career is 8 years shorter than Sam Sexton. And his level of opposition isn't that good. I mean, he beat the same guy we're talking about in South Africa, Osborne Machimera, won an 8-round decision against a 300-pounder, and he beat Rafael Zambrano Love, who's pretty much a journeyman. But aside from that, he hasn't fought anybody. I don't understand how the sanctioning bodies have him ranked in their top 15, and they've kind of not even taken a look at Sam Sexton, who's not as he's not a fluff kind of a fighter, but he certainly has been active since his pro debut back in 2005. What's your thoughts?
Well, to say that the boxing game does not have politics would be hypocritical. And the bottom line is there are politics. There are means and leverage that you can leverage your fighter into the rankings and have them looked upon as being more favorable than other fighters that have possibly had some decent fights against some formidable opponents. And it's part of the game, Billy. I mean, it takes money to run the game. It's a business. And, sometimes people just appear in rankings and, they try to validate it by who has he fought. But many times it could show with an undefeated record or a record with a few losses. And it's just a matter of who you know and how you leverage it up there. There are those fighters that do earn it and do work it. And those, needless to be said, are the true champs that come up. So there's some fighters up there that do have the fluff without the stuff.
So, Sal, what are you saying? You rambled on, but what are you saying? That that he knows somebody, that he put some greenbacks in somebody's hands to get in the top 15? Because that's what I think.
Big. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
You could almost buy your way into something.
Okay,
that's what I was going to say.
I agree.
I said it, Bill.
All right.
I said it.
And that's what
the bag.
That's
you
what we
could
want.
actually pay your way to buy yourself into a ranking. It's not all on your merit.
Thank
Did
you.
I say that?
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
what I want to hear because that's the
Okay.
truth. That's the truth.
It is
We don't
the
need.
truth.
We don't
It is
need
the
to
whole
hear.
truth and
We,
nothing but
we
the
don't
truth.
need to hear more smoke screens, especially from
No.
anybody on this show, because we certainly get it from all the fighters and the promoters and the
Yeah, we
managers.
do.
We
You're
don't
right.
need it,
That's true.
Sal. So you call it like it is, and I agree with you. This guy was positioned in the rankings. Maybe somebody slipped someone else an envelope with some greenbacks in it. Maybe they cut a deal. I don't know. But you know what? I would like to assume, and I would certainly like to think, that fighters get ranked based on their ability, not on deals that they cut. It's pretty sickening when you think about it. I mean, the truth of the matter is that a fighter, like anything else, like in the world, Sal, you should
Politics,
get a promotion.
Bill,
Well,
politics.
forget politics, but you should get a job. Let's say you work, if you and I are in the same job and you get a promotion because you know the boss and I don't, and I'm a better worker, well, that's not fair to me. You know, if you're the better worker and you know the boss, well, then that's why you got the promotion. That's the way it should be. I mean, the same thing in boxing. People should earn their spots. End of story.
I agree, and that's the way it should be. But we do know the fact that that's not the way it always is.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right.
You can buy it away. I mean, you have the money, you have the power, you have the leverage, you have the connections. You can get ranked. You can be positioned, and that's how some of these fighters automatically you'll see them one day out of the top 10. Boom. Next day they're in the top 10, and sooner or later you see them ranked number 1 and in line for a title shot. That's it.
Yeah, it's a joke. Back to Chris Eubank. You know, on Friday when we were breaking down the fights, I said he wasn't impressive. You know, I said he wasn't impressive. He's won some close fights. His loss was at the hands of Billy Joe Saunders. I'm not impressed with Billy Joe Saunders at all. Like, not even a little.
You never have been.
Right. Not even a little. No. But I'll tell you something. After this knockout, and I'm not saying Yildirim was a world beater. I mean, he was undefeated at 16-0 going into the fight, and he did bring something to the table. And we talked about it last week. I thought it was going to be a close fight, but Chris Eubank Jr. made it not so. Knocking him out in highlight reel fashion in the third round to improve to 26-1. At the end of the fight, Sal, he had a quote, and basically was a message to all the other super middleweights in the World Boxing Super Series, Chris Eubank Jr., and I said, and I quote, "I am here to dominate this tournament. I'm sending a message out there that I'm coming." I'll tell you what, he certainly seemed it. What do you think?
Well, I think he did, and when I looked at the fight last week, I had a good feeling that Chris Eubank would come out victorious. And not saying that Stillman's record was padded at 16-0 or so, but that does say, he doesn't have a world of experience. We don't know how many times he might have gotten hurt during a fight and how many times he came back. So I think his maybe inexperience with some of the fight numbers, I use that as a leverage or as an indicator as far as how I was going to choose Chris Eubank Jr. to be victorious, and proved to be true.
Well, it's hard to go. You see, fans today have a tendency to do how you just danced around that question. The truth of the matter is that you can't always go by just the numbers of a record. I mean, for example,
no, you can't. That's what I'm saying.
But when I'm carrying it further than what you said, like, just because a guy is undefeated, 16-0, doesn't mean he's good. Just because he's only got 16 fights doesn't mean he's bad. No, it
does not.
Because look at Vasily Lomachenko. These guys that fight in other countries outside the U.S. that have a more defined and successful amateur career, where they're fighting longer in the worldwide tournament level, tournaments. These guys are facing top-notch opposition, more so than some of the slugs that pros get fed, specifically here in the States, to pad their records. We talked in depth about Deontay Wilder last week And he's a prime example. Yes, he fought in the amateurs. Yes, he won a bronze medal at the Olympics. But the guy really hasn't fought anyone tough. And at the end of the day, Sal, I don't care what anyone else thinks. You got to fight good opposition to get better. Otherwise, you're going through the motions. It's like you're in a gym working out, except with live bodies.
I agree with you 100%. And one thing with the amateurs, though, is also when you look at a fighter with as few fights as 16 or so, you built a record and you have a record in the amateurs on a 3-round basis. A main event or 10 or 12 rounds, it's a different pace. And, you know, if you could get all that experience to prepare yourself and go the distance for that length of time and to know how to win the rounds and do that, then you have that world experience that you did get in the amateurs. But, you know, that's the major difference is preparing and making what you can do inside of 3 rounds over the length of a time of a 10-round main event or a 12-round title fight. But you're right, and I agree.
We're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we got in emails to read and stuff, which I'm gonna get to a little later. But I got one from my man Willie, who opened my eyes and directed me to a report that came out that I don't know if it's true or not, but it's interesting. So hold that thought. We'll be back in about 2.
We'll be right back.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Stop! Living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald. But there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
It was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Are
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And how about stopping by and hanging out with me? October 21st, I'm going to be ringside up at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino. HBO Boxing will be there. And Jezreel Corrales and my man, well, he's going to be the main event. But Demetrius Andre was announced that he's going to be on that card too as a co-feature, and I'm looking forward to both of those guys fighting, seeing them live. So come on and get yourself some tickets. Demand a Billy C discount. Let me know where you're sitting. Drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, and I'll do my bestest to come find you and talk a little boxing. So I'm here with my man Sal Rocky Senacola. And Sal, are you ready for some interesting news?
I am, and I want to tell you, one day I'm going to surprise you, and I'm going to fly up to an event like that and sit right next alongside you, and we're going to be looking at those fights together.
Yeah, that would definitely surprise me, almost as much as you not trying to cram all the fights in when you wake up in the morning, in between your breakfast and all your coffee you're drinking and all of that. You know, I mean, I watch you eat. I get hungry watching you on your camera feed. I'm a
little nauseous this morning. I had to put something in my stomach.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, I'm nauseous.
You know what? It's
Trust me, I'm a little nauseous.
Probably from my 2-day-old coffee that was left in my pot. I didn't have any more coffee, so I had to brew this, rebrew it. It was like I just put it in a pot and I boiled the heck out of it. So that's what I'm drinking, 2-day-old coffee.
Trust me, I'm a little nauseous myself today. But anyway, my man Willie, who's in the chat room a lot, actually, he's in the chat room right now. And if you're watching or listening to the show, the chat room that we respond to is up on BillyCBoxing.com. He sent me a heads up. It was a link to an article that says Vitaly Klitschko vows to return the ring and avenge his brother's loss to Anthony Joshua. So he says, hey, Billy C., I thought you might be interested in this to talk on the show. Yeah, I was interested in this because I didn't see it anywhere else. And I did look at the link. It was out of a British paper. And according to this article, after Vladimir Klitschko was stopped at the hands of, in my opinion, the best heavyweight in the business today, in Anthony Joshua, Vitaly Klitschko, who's 46 years old and hasn't fought since 2012. You know, when Dax was talking about the potential candidates for the Hall of Fame this year, Vitaly Klitschko made the ballot. It's been his fifth year out of the ring, and according to Vitaly, he wants to avenge Vladimir, his little brother's loss. He said, and I quote, "I miss boxing very much. Boxing will always stay in my heart for my whole life. A fight against Joshua is my best wish. I have a feeling I can do it better. I have to fight Joshua and bring the belt back to my family. Vladimir was for a long time the best heavyweight in the world. Joshua stopped him, and this means he's the best one now. But that was just a lucky fight, a lucky night for Anthony Joshua." Vitaly also feels responsible for Vladimir losing the fight because of some instruction he gave him during the fight. He says, I expected a big-muscled athlete not to be able to recover, but I was surprised. Joshua recovered so fast and stopped Vladimir. If I didn't tell him to stop, then Vladimir would have knocked him out in round 6 or maybe round 7. So according to this, it sounds like Vitaly Klitschko told his brother to take it easy, that, Anthony Joshua was on the verge of being knocked out, and we all know what happened after that. Returning to the ring, the possibility of returning to the ring, Vitaly Klitschko, a guy who's been successful in politics since his retirement to boxing. Sal, what's your thoughts? Will Vitaly Klitschko return, and will he get a fight with Anthony Joshua? And quite honestly, he shouldn't be allowed to get a fight immediately with Anthony Joshua, but that's another story. What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
Well, you really struck a couple nerves here, and I'll tell you what. At 46 years of age, yeah, he's capable of doing that. I mean, look at George Foreman coming back, and I think he earned a heavyweight shot knocking out Michael Moore when he was 45. So 46, and I think Vitaly has always kept himself in decent shape. Number one. Number two, it's only been 4 or 5 years since his last fight. So he's got that going for him. Some of these fighters today, they take off a year or two in between fights, and they're still active in a career. Number three, no, he should not get a title shot earning his way back just by announcing he's going to come back against Anthony Joshua. He's got to have a preliminary fight. He's got to work his way up, I think, and eventually can he get a title shot? And by the time he does, should that fight be, should Anthony Joshua still be the world champion? From what the pool of the heavyweights out there today, it's easy to say that he should be. But the bottom line is we don't know what's going to happen because, like I said, any given night, a fighter could lose, one fighter could win. I think it's I love the scenario. Now, if he comes back right away, gets a 10-round non-title fight just to prove a point and see that, hey, go ahead, do it. Let's see it happen. And then that will force probably an issue to go for a title fight. That's the way to do it.
Sal, Rocky, Senecola, Sally.
Okay, what
you
am
say,
I?
First of all, just listen, I'm just going to repeat a couple of things you said. You said, first of all, it's only been 5 years since his last fight.
Well,
this, boys and girls, comes from a guy who made a comeback after 25 years. So that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me that Sal would say that. It also doesn't surprise me that Sal is way beyond 50 years old, that he would make a statement like, he's only 46 years old. He's just a baby. He's just starting out.
He's in his prime. He's on the peak. He's over the top of the prime.
Here's one thing, and I would say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. I would like to see if Vitaly Klitschko came back, which I wouldn't want to see, but if he did, I would like him to go and fight Deontay Wilder right away, because I'll tell you why. First of all, he doesn't deserve a shot with the best heavyweight on the planet right now, being
I said the same thing.
Anthony Joshua. But if he wants a fast track to a title, and remember something, he held the WBC belt for a long time. So I'm sure he could cut a deal with Mauricio Suleiman to get a shot at Deontay Wilder's title. All right? And let me tell you something about Vitaly Klitschko. Vitaly Klitschko, although he looks and he's the same size as Vladimir, Vitaly Klitschko had a mean streak in him. Something that Vladimir never displayed. He did display it against Kubrat Pulev. He did look like he was mean. And he did come after Anthony Joshua more Vitaly Klitschko-esque. But Vitaly Klitschko was a guy that was known for throwing a lot of punches and was not afraid to take a shot. He definitely was meaner than his brother Vlad. And I think, even despite a 5-year layoff, and even despite being 46 years old, coming right in and facing Deontay Wilder, I think he knocks Deontay Wilder out. What do you think, Sal?
Well, I I just have to say, one of the things you said, I think he could do that. I think the guy is a fighter, and he's got a mean streak. And I think some fighters, when they're in that ring, they've got to show that mean streak. But the bottom line, and some fighters get the fire in their belly from that mean streak. But why would it be different for him to get his first fight back with a Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua? I mean, they're both respectively world champions on either side of the aisle. So, like I said, I would rather him come back and do a 10-round non-title fight with either opponent. But I would love to see him against Joshua. This way, it's put up or shut up, one fight, one out. If you win, you win. Maybe you can get a fast track and get a rematch if he beat Anthony Joshua for a title fight. But he should come back in a 10-round non-title fight against either opponent.
Listen, of course he should come back in a 10-round non-title fight against somebody else. But he doesn't need to come back. This isn't a typical comeback fight. This is I want a shot at greatness fight, which he's already on the Hall of Fame ballot. Listen, the reason why, I have a simple reason why I feel that it's justifiable and acceptable for both Deontay Wilder and Vitaly Klitschko to fight each other, and it's not for Anthony Joshua. And here's the reason. Deontay Wilder has yet to fight and beat a top-level opponent. He has yet to do it, all right? He hasn't done it in 38 fights, and he's certainly not scheduled to do it again in his next fight. Anthony Joshua has. Anthony Joshua beat and knocked out the reigning heavyweight champion for almost a decade. Even though he had lost his title to Tyson Fury, he still was regarded by most as the heavyweight man, the main guy in the heavyweight division. So although I would fault AJ for fighting Vitaly after a 5-year layoff, I wouldn't fault Deontay Wilder. And the reason is because Deontay Wilder needs a win against a name, even despite the fact that Vitaly is 46 years old. I still think it would not be an easy fight for Deontay Wilder. I really don't. Sal, hold that thought. We got to take a break. When we come back, Deontay Wilder versus Vitaly Klitschko. Vitaly Klitschko has been out of the ring for 5 years. He's on the Hall of Fame ballot for 2018. Can Deontay beat the 46-year-old? I'm not so sure he can.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system break down, bust your budget, or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Snacking has never been this exciting.
At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And before we went to break, we were talking about an email I got from my man Willie, directing me to an article written that Vitaly Klitschko is considering a comeback because he wants to avenge the loss against avenge Vladimir's loss against Anthony Joshua. And before we went to break, I said that I thought that it would be acceptable on both sides, in my opinion, if Vitaly Klitschko came back at 46 years old out of the ring for 5 years and fought Deontay Wilder. Willie, who happens to be in the chat room, says, hey, Billy, because you said that you're not so sure Wilder can beat Vitaly, but you always said that Wilder has no chance against AJ. Does that mean that you think Vitaly, excuse me, that Vitaly has no chance against AJ? Listen, we say this all the time. In the heavyweight division, and that's a good question. In the heavyweight division, any heavyweight has a chance to beat any other on any given night. I don't think Deontay Wilder has a chance against Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua is much too rounded. All Deontay Wilder has is punching power. And I'm not so sure he has all of that either because, it takes him so long to knock out journeyman fighters. I think he's lost the ability to learn more because he's relied on that's the negative with punching hard punching fighters. They have a tendency, especially you see it all the time when they knock a guy down early in a fight and then they're headhunting for the rest of the fight. They lose sight of breaking an opponent down. I look at Deontay Wilder, Sal, and I see a guy that won't fight Dillian White. He's calling for Joshua to come to him. That he's the guy that Anthony Joshua has to beat. He says everybody's afraid of him. He wouldn't even fight Dominic Breazeale, who I think would give him a tough fight. Who's coming off a loss? I don't know. I think that Vitaly Klitschko, after a 5-year retirement, 46 years old, I think that he could come back and knock the crap out of Deontay Wilder. I just think he could. In all seriousness, I really think he could.
And I agree. I think it could be a good fight. But here's the thing. If we're going to start looking at the world of boxing all of a sudden with people saying they want to do this, people saying they want to do that without having to earn their way back again, like George Foreman wanting to come back, this one wanting to come back, me wanting to come back against Mickey Rourke. You hear that one? But the bottom line is this. His whole incentive, as he has stated, would be to avenge his brother's loss. And the best way to do that is to go right in and have a 10-round non-title fight against Anthony Joshua. We don't know if he can get up psychologically, emotionally, or mentally, or physically for a Deontay Wilder because that's not his motivation. If it's true, and in his heart of hearts, his motivation is to avenge his younger brother's loss to Anthony Joshua, predicated also on his ill instructions that he felt he's guilty of giving Vlad, then you know what? Those are the reasons. That's the incentive for him to want to come back and fight Anthony Joshua. So I think, like we said, like I always say, Manny Pacquiao wanted to come back against Mayweather. You don't dance around other opponents to do that. You come back and you get on a straight track, fast track course to fight Floyd Mayweather. And if you had come back with a purpose, follow through with that purpose. So I think a 10-round non-title fight against Anthony Joshua, if it could be done, I think that's the fight he should get up and train and prepare for.
I just want to comment. We got Boxer Hunch. For some reason, I was putting. I'm thinking lunch. I'm watching you eating, and I'm responding.
Hey, it was an MMN. It was a frozen MMN.
I'm referring to him as BL because I glanced over. I'm half blind, and I see Boxer, and I thought it said lunch. It says Hunch. But my man Boxer Hunch in the chat room just wanted to make a comment. This is off our Vitaly Klitschko subject, but I just want to respond to it. He said, I think the more and more people rewatch Canelo Triple G, they conclude that this fight was closer to a draw than we all thought. And the truth of the matter is I scored the fight 116-112 for Triple G, but that doesn't mean I didn't think the fight was close. There were a couple of rounds that could have gone either way. As a matter of fact, I don't remember which ones, but I had marked on my scorecard close. When I put close, that means I wouldn't be surprised if it was scored the other way. I think what made people start thinking that this fight was a robbery, and I'm talking about Triple G Canelo now, was specifically Adelie Bird's card that came in suggesting that that Triple G won. I mean that Canelo won 10 of 12 rounds or something like that, which is clearly not the case. 8-4 either way, 6-5. Those are all realistic. The fight was close, especially the last 3 rounds, which you could make the argument very easily that Canelo won. Triple G took his foot off the gas. So, no, I agree with Boxer Hunch. This clearly was a close fight, and it does deserve a rematch. My only hang-up with that is that I wish it was taking place this year instead of, another 8 months from now, which is clearly in Canelo's benefit. But back to our topic, our new topic here. Deontay Wilder needs a big win against a big name. He needs a big win against a real fighter. And, to suggest that he's got it, and, people make these comments that I just don't like him. They call me a racist. I mean, that's such bullshit. I'm the furthest thing from a racist as ever. Listen, I call it like I see it. And Deontay Wilder, all he does is shoot off his mouth, and he doesn't back anything up. Yeah, he knocks out grown-ass men, like he says. I knock out grown-ass men. Yeah, they're all grown-ass men. But they're all grown-ass men that are slugs when it comes to boxing. They'll knock me out. But, when it comes to professional boxing, no. They're not top 10 guys. He needs to fight a real fighter. He's pounding his chest saying he's the best fighter. Now he's trying to say that Anthony Joshua has to come to him. If I'm Team Joshua, I say screw you, Deontay Wilder. Let him chase Anthony Joshua around like a little puppy dog, because without Anthony Joshua on Deontay Wilder's resume as a win. Now, if Deontay Wilder beats Anthony Joshua, there's no doubt that Deontay Wilder is the best heavyweight in the world. End of story. Beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. End of story. Anyway, some more heavyweight news, Sal.
Okay.
Speaking of heavyweight, one of the main things that came out of the WBC convention last week concerning the heavyweight division was the possibility that they create a new division called the super heavyweight division. This has been being discussed for a long time. They haven't said if it would be 250 pounds plus or 230 pounds plus or whatever. I'm opposed to this 100%. This is me personally. I don't think that we should have a super heavyweight division at all. I think that the cruiserweight division was put in place to, shorten the gap between light heavyweight limit, which is 175, and heavyweights, which I like. I like the cruiserweight division. But beyond 200 pounds, that's the heavyweight division. Now, what we see sometimes is a guy like a la Mike Tyson, which we haven't really seen a short 5'11" heavyweight, successful heavyweight in quite some time. But Mike Tyson, 5'11", was able to compete with 6'3", 6'4" guys. Although we don't see a lot of that today. We see a lot of those guys in the cruiserweight division, or we see a cruiserweight that wants to move up to heavyweight. I don't like the additional weight class. You know, they've done many studies, and they say that the punching power of a 175-pound man can still knock out a 250-plus pound man. So the power is there. And I've also seen big guys not possess the punching power you would expect. And a great example of that is Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, big guy, 6'7", you know, well over 250. Well, now he's about 500 pounds. But, you know, when he was fighting in good shape, 250 pounds, he didn't destroy people with one punch. Deontay Wilder has more power behind his punch, and a guy that weighs under 220 than Tyson Fury did at 3-something. So I don't support a super heavyweight division. I'm afraid to ask, but what's your thoughts, Sal?
Bill, I concur with you, Bill. I do not support it, and you know what? We've done enough with having weight classes come up every 5 pounds, 6 pounds in between on the lighter weights. And you know what you just said was so true. When you look at a light heavyweight being with the limit of 175 pounds, and then anything originally over 175 was considered a heavyweight. And when they came up with the buffer weight class, what I mean by that, the cruiserweight, that filled in that gap between 176 pounds and 200 pounds. You know, boxing is a sport, and you don't need feel-good police to always look out. People who elect to become fighters, they do so because they feel in their heart of hearts they can do what they have to do to be a winner, to be a champion, to be the best they can be. And, you know, if you're a 5'9", 5'10", 230-pound guy, and you feel you could fight, you're going to try it. And if you don't win, or if you keep getting knocked out, you're not going to be around too long. But if you are of that weight class, I don't think they need a super heavyweight weight class. You're in the game of boxing because you choose to be, and because you have the talent and the ability to work yourself up there, or somebody paying you to get up there, to be a world-class contender and to fight for a championship. End of story. They don't need a super heavyweight division.
Well, you know, I'm sure they're looking at it for the revenue stream, because look at it this way. You know, we all know, whether they call it this or not. I mean, you know, each sanctioning body technically has 5 world champions in each weight class: the super champion, the regular old champion, the interim champion, the champion in recess, and the champion of Muay Thai. 5 guys that could walk around claiming that they're a world champion in each sanctioning body. So when you do the quick math, and I know a lot of you young people don't know how to do that, because you guys are allowed to use calculators from the time you're 9 into the world today. But if you multiply 5 times 4, that equals 20 more world champions, which equals 20 more sanctioning fees, which equals a lot of more money for the sanctioning bodies. And oh, by the way, while they're worrying about and trying to smokescreen the fan base to think it's going to be better and safer, et cetera, we also are depleting our already minimal pool of fighters. Obviously, we're talking about the heavyweights, so you're going to deplete that pool of heavyweights much more than it already is. If you take a look at the heavyweights, like I was trying to do earlier today, where we look at some heavyweights that are have respectable records and where they're ranked with the respective sanctioning bodies, almost anybody with 20 wins is in the top 15 of somebody's sanctioning body. So that would deplete that even more. And then you'd have guys like Deontay Wilder pounding on his chest, saying that everybody from the heavyweight to the super heavyweight division are all ducking him, because a guy like Deontay Wilder wouldn't fall into the super heavyweight. Because remember something about Deontay, he doesn't weigh 250 pounds. He's a 220 pounder, Sal.
Well, and exactly that. I mean, And so was the era of the 70s and 80s. You had a lot of heavyweights, including Muhammad Ali, who was 6'3" and about 220, 230 pounds, and that's what I'm saying. You don't need it. If you got once in a while, you got a 6'7" guy who weighs 250. Hey, you got to go in the ring with a guy like that and chop him down like a tree if you can. If you can't, hey, he's the heavyweight champion of the world. I don't see. I don't like the idea. I don't think we need another weight class. I don't think we need another 5 champions on top of the 85 plus champions we have today.
Let's get to some other sports real quick. Just to get you caught up in the National League Division Series, the Dodgers are up on the Diamondbacks 2-0. The Cubbies and the Nationals are tied. In the American League Divisional Series last night, the Red Sox beat the Astros 10-3. The Astros still lead that series 2-1, and the Yankees got a W in a pitcher's duel. They topped the Indians 1-0. Cleveland leads that series 2-1. All of these games are playing tonight. Now I just and I'm light again because we have a backup system now in place. We were able to maintain our show here, Sal. So that was pretty interesting. But in the National Football League, the Bengals topped the Bills 20-16. The Panthers over the Lions 27-24. The Colts beat the 49ers in overtime 26-23. The 49ers are 0-5. The Dolphins topped the Titans 16-10. The Jaguars over the Steelers 30-9. The Eagles went 4-1 after they beat the Cardinals 34-7. And this is a team that's getting better and better. The Seahawks beat the Rams 16-10 in a close game. The Packers, in a really exciting game, beat the Cowboys 35-31. The Ravens over the Raiders 30-17. The Chiefs, the only undefeated team left in football, they beat the Texans 42-34 to go 5-0. The Giants 0-5. The Chargers got their first win, Sal, 27-22 to go 1-4. And the Giants are 0-5. And you want to know what bothered me the most about this game? Watching Odell Beckham crying like a baby on the sideline after he got his injury. Now, I'm not suggesting it didn't hurt or anything like that. And certainly, I'm not going to knock anyone for letting their emotions out. But, Odell Beckham deserves it because of all the smack talk and all the BS that he does. I mean, he makes a catch and he's doing a dance. Didn't even get a first down. Doesn't even get a touchdown. He's doing a dance. I mean, all these NFL players, it is getting so hard for me to watch, Sal, to be honest with you. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think some of the fans out there are starting to feel the same way. Especially, we're not going to get political, but when they take that knee and everything else, it's a different world today, Bill. And sometimes I say I was either born a little bit too early or a little bit too late. But it's some strange times ahead. And this world of sports is something else as well. And hey, you know what? Beckham could have been very seriously hurt. It could have wrenched a knee. Could have had anything. So I go easy on him for that. I mean, I wouldn't be crying on the sidelines, but I'd be like, holy smoke, did I get hit? I'm in pain.
No, go ahead.
Sorry
about that.
It's a crazy world. That's good. I thought it was me.
No. That's the we got 9.
Hey, but you know what I'm glad about? Do you know what I was glad about? And I've been a big. I should let you say it. I was going to talk.
All right,
about
just leave it. Just hang out. But the thing is that and I agree with you. I don't want to criticize. Listen, he hurt his ankle again, and he was crying probably because he was frustrated that his season might be over. But with all the BS,
don't cry.
He's crying. Crying like my 2-year-old grandson crying. My 2-year-old grandson doesn't even cry like that. And by the way, the kid was making some great catches yesterday watching the Jets, Jets. Oh, did I forget that one?
It, Bill.
No, they beat the Browns in one of the most pitiful, sad, and hard to watch games I've ever seen. I'm going to reiterate my opinion on the coach of the New York Jets, the worst in the NFL. Doesn't even know anything about this game. I'm telling you, this man knows nothing about football. He shouldn't be coaching a Pop Warner team, let alone an NFL team. But nonetheless, credit where credit's due. The Jets somehow found a way to win, or should I say the Browns somehow found a way to lose to go 0-5. The Jets, they win 17-14 in Cleveland. They are now 3 wins and 2 losses. I thought they would win 3 games all year. They are at that point now. And here's the best part. They are tied for first place with the Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. And then the Dolphins are only trailing those 3 teams by 1 game. So the AFC East has gotten pretty tight, I would think. But who are any of those teams really that good? Especially when you look at the Chiefs, who are 5-0, just beating all good teams. So that's what happened in the sport of football yesterday, Sal.
Oh yeah, that's great, Bill. You know, I've become an overnight instant Jet fan as well. I still love my Giants. I love the Giants, but. You know, because when Pat Ryan came into my restaurant, and I didn't know who he was, and his family was saying, "Are you a Yankee fan or a Met fan?" I said, "Hey, I bleed pinstripes." They said, "That means you're a Giant fan." I said, "Absolutely. Is there another team?" I didn't know who I was talking to. So I put my foot in my mouth. And when I met Pat Ryan, I immediately recognized him after the fact. And I said, "Wow, you're stellar and you're great. And I love the Jets." And so anyway, that was my story. So now I root for the Jets with you, Bill.
Well, Pat Ryan was a great backup quarterback, and there was a time when he was a starter, and there was also a time where a lot of people felt that he should be the starter over some of the other slugs they had at quarterback. But I got some emails here. This first one is from my man Mitch, and Mitch says, "Boy, Billy C, you hit this one on the nose," and he sent me a link to a story about Birmingham Stavern testing positive. ESPN has the story, so if you want to look at it, to fight for Alexander Povetkin. He said in the fight, he says when you read it, it leaves unanswered questions. Number one, the WBC sanctioned the interim title fight despite the failed test. Stavern tested positive for DMAA. The DMAA has been on the banned substance list since 2010. DMAA ain't exactly blood pressure medicine, Billy C. It's used for weight loss, muscle building, and overall performance enhancement. Wow. In 2013, the FDA reported received a report of 86 athletes and 86 athlete deaths and illnesses related to DMMA. So let me get this straight. You didn't sanction Ortiz because you're concerned with his health, but you let Stavern, you okay a fight with Stavern that had a drug in his system tied now to hundreds of deaths. And those are just the deaths of athletes that were actually reported. So where was the concern for Stavern's health? Where was the WBC approved physician assigned to check his health? Maybe it was the $75,000 fine Stavern paid that made it a moot point. Mind you this, he says, mind you, this drug costed Usain Bolt a 4-time 100-meter gold medal. Major League players got 50 game suspensions for use it. Enzo Maccarinelli got a 6-month ban. So knowing they allowed Stavern to fight Povetkin, who had a situation of his own, you'd figure Team Ortiz would sue for an injunction. I mean, while we're talking about blood pressure meds, not true. It's not a true stimulant like DMMA. Instead of suing, they say we respect and admire the WBC decision. He's referring to Team Ortiz here. The only reason I can come up with is the one you said, Billy C. Money exchanged hands with the agreement. Ortiz will get his shot against Wilder before Anthony Joshua does. That'll be Wilder's second opponent in a row who hadn't fought in over 2 years. Listen, man, Deontay Wilder has become a smokescreen of sorts. His career, his resume, his stupid calling out. Everybody's afraid of him. The facts are the facts. All you got to do, and like I say, you look at the record is who you are, and just don't look at the O. Look at who he fought to get the O. Anthony Joshua has fought much harder and top-level opposition, even going back to the amateurs. The amateur record that AJ has is way better than Deontay Wilder, and you can't compare the two when it comes to a professional. That's my thoughts, cut and dry, Sal.
Well, I know you got that point, and I tend to agree with you on that as well.
I mean, it is what it is. And my man Mitch here pointing out that Team Ortiz, who comes out with the we're thankful that the WBC is looking out for our fighters' health, so we want one of their physicians to check them out. What kind of BS was that? I said it was BS when it came out. I mean, when what's his face showed us, came out, the guy from the steroid, Victor Conti. It's tough getting old. I was drawing a blank there for a second, Sal. I don't have the coffee and food sources you have in front of you.
Hey, but, easy. I got 2-day-old coffee.
But at least it's something. When Victor Conti broke it down and was, explaining everything, and here's a guy who, I think he did time for juicing ball players in the 80s or whatever. But, the guy knows the way the stuff works. And he basically said it's a travesty that the WBC won't let Luis Ortiz fight Wilder. I said it then. It was money. Money exchanged hands, whether it came from Team Wilder to the WBC or from Wilder to the WBC, Wilder to Ortiz, whatever, or WBC to Ortiz. It's a three-way deal. They're going to let Ortiz fight Wilder in January. And Wilder's going to be saying that AJ ducked him. AJ should not come to the U.S. to fight Wilder. They should make Wilder go to him. But and when and if he does want to come, Wilder's going to outprice himself. Trust me. This sounds all too familiar. Hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'll have more on that, so don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Stop. Living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
And it was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
This is important news for people who had a hip replacement and then had to have additional surgery as the result of a faulty hip implant, or were diagnosed with high levels of metal in the blood, known as metallosis. You may have a right to a cash award and medical expenses. If you have been diagnosed with high levels of metal in your blood or have required more surgery because of hip implant failure, call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. they put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you! I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad to be with us. And speaking of the show, programming note, we will not be doing a live show tomorrow. We will not be doing a live show tomorrow. Apologize for that, but it is what it is. But, Sal, I don't mean to really sound like, I despise Deontay Wilder, because I don't. I like Deontay Wilder. My hang-up is with these fighters that pound their chest when they haven't proven anything. I've always respected and admired fighters that, go up through the ranks, they beat the guy, and they beat the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy, and they're climbing that ladder, and they get to the top, and they pound their chest. I guess I'm the same kind of guy that likes an athlete that scores a touchdown and flips the ball to the referee rather than, doing the hokey pokey dance in the end zone. I don't know. I remember I played football. I boxed. I remember coaches telling me, act like you've been there before. Don't act like, this is the first time and the emotions are getting over. It's the same thing in the ring. If you're going to do a backflip after you win a decision, people are going to think wow, what is this, his first win? Why is he acting like that? What's your thoughts?
No, Bill, I hate to say I agree, but I do agree. I don't hate to say it, but, you come from a side of humility. You come from a side of knowing what you're doing to earn those victories and being humble to know that it could go either way on any given night. And, I tend to agree. And, you let your physical attributes speak for themselves in the world of sports. And, it is what it is. I can understand where some of these fighters today become their own self-promoters. Why not? Market yourself. Do what you got to do. So you call people out. You do what you got to do. But going over the top without having I use this term all the time. I'm sorry if I'm redundant here, but showing the fluff without having the stuff. That's what I don't respect and I don't like. I do not like.
Exactly. And I agree with you. The thing is that, if Deontay Wilder never opened his mouth and said that he was the best and everybody's scared of him and all of this, I would think differently of him, because then all the burden and the blame for his cherry-picked resume would be put on his management, which would be, his manager, his promoter, etc. But when he comes out and says he wants to fight everybody and, says they're all scared to fight him, and then the public, a lot of the uneducated, ignorant public, and I say that meaning I don't mean educated wise like schooling. I mean in the sport of boxing.
In the sport of boxing.
They believe it. They buy it. They drink the Kool-Aid, and then they just say, I'm old and disgruntled and don't know what I'm talking about, So I like to see people earn it. And I'm the same way with football. That's why I've started watching college a little more, because the college athletes, they're trying to get to the NFL, and a lot of these coaches won't allow some of these. I mean, I'm watching guys yesterday, Sal, that make a run. Now, to anybody that doesn't know, 10 yards equals a first down. I'm watching guys that are getting 8 yards and jumping up and doing a dance, shooting guns and putting them in their holster like they, just did it, chewing them, eating them, feeding me, the feed me sign, give me a break. It's a joke. I mean, that's what they're getting paid for, I mean.
It is a joke.
And every time they get a first down, they do the first down. I mean, what's this become? It's the same thing in boxing. Same thing in boxing.
It's true, Bill. That's where we have, I guess, lowered ourselves to the benchmark. It's not the same. It's things have changed, and you and I are stuck in the world of past sports and memories of what it used to be to earn those kind of things and to celebrate where you can. And it's a different game today. You got these young athletes coming up, and they only see some of their earlier examples giving them what they think they should do and how to behave when it's not really appropriate. So it is what it is. It's leading by example, and the example today of some of the leaders are not really what it should be. That's the case.
We got another email. This is from my man Willie, and he says. He goes, hey, Billy C., you're always praising the UK fighters for wanting to fight the best of the competition, and you are so right about that. You mention it a lot on your show, and I know it's something that you are quite passionate about. And he says, aren't we all? Well, what did you think of the matchups on Saturday? We had Chris Eubank Jr. against Yildirim and Anthony Crowley against Ricky Burns. I thought that both fights were pretty good and decent matchups. Do you agree, or am I wrong? No, I do agree. First of all, I love the World Boxing Super Series, and I stated when it came out and they basically gave us the roster how disappointed I was that there weren't any American fighters on that list, and it's disheartening because I see a trend, and American fighters have become lazy. They're looking for the easiest way, and listen, I know it's smarter to let a tool work for you, so to speak, than to have you work for the tool. I get it, and I know it's smarter to have less effort and make the most amount of money. I get it, and I don't disagree with that theory, and I certainly don't disagree with looking out for your future and being concerned with health issues, etc., etc. But when you sign up to be a professional fighter, you should have one thing in mind, and that's to become a world champion. And in order to become a world champion, you need to fight other fighters that want to become a world champion. And that's how you become a contender, and that's how you weed out the better fighters from the not-so-great fighters. And to suggest that fighters here in the United States have been leaning towards taking the easy road and rather than challenge themselves or, God forbid, put one of their trinkets on the line, it shows to me that they're scared. I mean, you could spin it and say it's a business decision, et cetera, but at the end of the day, somebody's scared, whether it's the fighter or whether it's the people looking out for that fighter. In Deontay Wilder's case, my support for Deontay Wilder, the man, is for him because he truly believes he's the best. I give him credit for that, and I think every fighter should think that they're the best out there in their weight class. The difference with Deontay is that his team is not following his own demands of trying to fight the best. His team knows something that Deontay doesn't, and that's his weaknesses. When it comes to the United States and the fighters, I think it's sad that we weren't able to put together any super middleweight or cruiserweight for this tournament. And it reiterates what I say all the time, that these other fighters, out of Europe specifically, they're the ones that have no fear of fighting each other. Early in their careers, late in their careers, it doesn't matter. When you have a domestic matchup, it sells, and the fighters fight. And it generally doesn't hurt their careers. They move on. hats off to the British, well, not just the British boxing scene, the whole European boxing scene, because these guys are willing to fight. And the people come and support them too, Sal. We see these audiences, 100,000 people, 50,000 people. You know, even Floyd Mayweather, one of the biggest draws in the history of the sport, didn't even sell out his last fight, when the maximum people in the arena would have been 16,000. Didn't even sell out. Now, granted, he sold a couple of million pay-per-views, but that just goes to show you the difference between the fan bases. Oh, in Europe, they want to come out and see an event live. In the United States, we want to sit our fat, lazy asses on the couch and watch it.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's such a trade-offs, and with having the comforts of your home and the beautiful high-definition TVs and seeing the replays and the commentary and everything else, it's, I understand it. I see the trade-offs, and we don't know how the European blocks, what they're doing there with all their sports and announcing, but I'm sure it's got to be on a similar level of ours. But I do agree with you, Bill. I think the European countries with their fight base and their fan base, and like I said, they come out to support their fighters like it's an event. I mean, a big event. They make it like, hey, what are we doing? We're going to go to see this. We're going to support. And they do it. They celebrate. It's a great festive atmosphere, and they are very much a part of their corner of their fan, and of their fighter. And I love it. I love to see that. We don't do it here as much.
Now, what I like about the European fighters is they fight.
They fight. They're not afraid to fight either. Yeah. They're not afraid to face the best, because they either feel they're the best or they want the opportunity to beat the best, and that's what you cannot deny.
Well,
it's so evident.
But what they do is their ideal is, hey, I want to prove I'm the best, and the only way to prove I'm the best is to fight the best, not to tell everybody. Floyd Mayweather, and I don't mean to bring him up, but Floyd Mayweather's fans went as far as telling me in the past that they knew that he could beat Triple G, so why bother fighting him? And when you see when you hear a statement like that, I'm sorry, but it makes me, first of all, it makes me laugh my ass off. And second of all, it makes me scratch my head, because I say to myself, how can you say that? I mean, that's like saying, the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in football, so they don't have to play any good teams. They only have to play the bad ones just to keep them in shape. I mean, it's the same thing. I'm sorry. In boxing, it means more than any other sport. To prove the best, you got to fight the best. And, if Deontay, and we're talking about heavyweights here, if Deontay Wilder really thinks he's the best, and his team tells him the best, well, then go seek out a top fighter. Dillian White, AJ, of course, which he won't fight. I mean, these even Joseph Parker, anybody that's in the top, echelon of fighters. And I don't mean a paid for position fighter like Bermane Stiverne, because nobody can stay in the number one position if you've been out of the ring for 2 years. And that's the case with Stiverne. He hasn't fought. How does a guy stay at the number one ranking without fighting for so long? I just don't understand it.
Bill, I know, pal. We definitely march the same drum beat right there. I understand.
It's continuing with Willie's email here. He says, Chris Eubank made the following statement after the fight. He says, I'm here to dominate this tournament. I'm sending a message out there that I'm coming. George Groves, get through your next fight so we can give the boxing fans what they really want to see. I've gained a lot of respect for Eubank, and I look forward to George Groves. He is scheduled to fight coming up soon, so hopefully he gets by his guy, and that is a matchup that a lot of people have been wanting to see, Groves and Eubank Jr. He says, I was impressed with Eubank's performance, and he seemed to be maturing into a good, slick, and disciplined fighter. He definitely looked very good in this fight, and I'm beginning to like his style more and more. Do you think Eubank versus Groves is a good fight? The answer is yes, I do. He says, apparently there was a mass brawl among the German crowd shortly before the main event. I don't know what it was about, but I'll look into that later. And this was from Willie. I don't know. Maybe they cut him off with beer or something. What do you think?
Probably did. I don't know. It's like I said, it is what it is. We know, we go around the horn, and it's nothing related to Jeff Horn, but it never ceases to amaze me. Never.
Well, I definitely like what I saw on Chris Eubank Jr. this past weekend, and I, for one, am interested in keeping an eye on him. I have another email. This one is from my man Mitch, another one from Mitch. He says, Billy C., I swear every time you talk about him on your show, he listens to you because then he comes with something you either predicted or that runs counter to credit you gave him, whether that's positive credit or not. He says, this guy's garbage. He irks me. I wish Stavern can land a haymaker, but then he'll probably fail a post-fight drug test if he does, and Wilder will get another win. He's referring to Wilder, and he sent me some links to some Wilder comments and articles that were written. He says that basically in one of them, Deontay Wilder made a claim that if he wants to become a globally recognized like he is, this is the joke of it, Sal. Wilder is telling AJ that if he wants to become a global, a recognized fighter globally like Deontay is, which is not the case, then he needs to come to America and fight Deontay there, which, first of all, I think is absurd. And this is where, Deontay's got to stop listening to the bozos that are whispering bullshit in his ear. Because the truth of the matter is that AJ is way more recognizable than Deontay Wilder. He's been there, done that. He's traveled the world as a longtime amateur, won a gold medal, etc. Plus, he's put up and shut up his opponents in the ring as a professional, something that Deontay Wilder has not done. And if Deontay is more recognizable than AJ, it's only because of his mouth. Sal, what's your thoughts?
Well, like I said, I would love to see AJ come to the United States, and if not in Vegas, Madison Square Garden, or somewhere that is comfortable for him to be. He pretty much fights in his backyard, as the same as Deontay Wilder in Brooklyn. So it would kind of be neat to see these guys meet in a neutral location, whether it's in the United States or UK, other than just their backyard.
Well,
see what happens then.
Well, first of all, Deontay Wilder's from Alabama, and
I know that. You're right. I'm sorry, I stand corrected.
Well, you're right about Brooklyn. He has fought in Brooklyn several times, but I think it boils down to what's the most feasible financially. And, HBO or in this case Showtime would broadcast the fight. So it doesn't matter where the fight is. No. We in the United States will see it, whether it's a pay-per-view, whether it's Showtime, whether it's HBO, I don't know, but we'll pay for it. So then you go to the next level. Well, where's the next big revenue stream? And that's got to be Live Gate. Now, the argument in the past has been when you put it in a venue in the United States, they charge outrageous prices for the tickets. And like, for example, you put it in a 100,000-seat arena in the UK, the cost of those tickets aren't as much. So at the end of the day, what the maximum gate would be. But in this case, I think that AJ has earned to be in the driver's seat. This is a guy that is truly a champion. If you throw all the belts out the window, which we should, the reason why he's the man is because he beat Klitschko, who was the man in the division prior to losing to Tyson Fury, who's not fighting anymore. So Klitschko was the guy that you got to follow. And AJ beat him. He's in the driver's seat. I'm sorry. There's no discussion there as far as I'm concerned. The only way that, and Anthony Joshua, like you said, does want to fight in the U.S. If he chooses to fight in the U.S., fine. But against Deontay Wilder, if I'm Team Joshua, I want that fight in England, Sal.
Yes and no. I mean, yeah. I mean, if he whatever he could do to get up for the fight and realize, either his dream come true would be the fighting in Vegas. I don't know, but one thing is for sure: no matter where they fight, they should have, as I suggest often with the world title fights on and the world sanctioning bodies here, they should have judges represent the 3 judges representing each of the fighters' home country, and a neutral judge from another country. That's what they should have, and he can come here to the United States with that kind of scenario, with the judges dispersed over the different countries.
Yeah, but the judges, listen, the judges' criteria.
Minus Bird.
Well, the judges' criteria is what needs to be repaired. I'm not so, I promote it, so I know the expense involved. If you got to fly judges from all over the world, that's BS. All we need is competent judging and a criteria that they all follow in the same order, Sal.
Yeah, but Bill, it always it's nice to see that there are judges coming from one guy's home country meeting another guy's home country, and
yeah, but
usually,
what I was going to say is Adelie Bird is a United States judge. She's not from Mexico, and she's.
No, I know that. I know. Right. I think judge again. Nothing.
Well, I think it's the competence level. We need to prioritize the order in which they score a card. You and I have to put and you and I, if we were judges, we would have to put the same order of criteria on how we judge. I can't look at volume and you look at power, and our scorecards are totally different because my guy is landing all these little mosquito punches, and your guy lands 1 or 2 big shots for the round. You give it to him, I give it to the volume. We got to define that and make sure that every judge scores it the same way. And if that takes place, we won't have some of these controversial scorecards. And like we were talking about Boxer Hutch in the chat room earlier, the truth of the matter is that Triple G Canelo fight was closer than people act like it was now, and the only reason is because of Adelie Bird's way out card. If her card even scored for Triple G 115, 113, or even 116, 112 for that matter, I don't think there'd be half as much outrage.
No, there possibly wouldn't. I mean, I tried to look at the fights. I gave some even rounds or questionable rounds or close rounds. I even did give to Canelo Alvarez, but I still had Triple G winning that fight. And I think a lot of the fan base that was objective enough did see that fight similar, that Triple G did win that fight.
Oh, right.
And,
I mean, I agree. But 160, you and I scored it the same. And Larry Hazard scored it the same as we did, and so did Harold Letterman. We all scored it 116, 112. That's 8 rounds to 4, right? That's 8 rounds to 4. So a couple of those 8 rounds clearly were close, that we leaned towards Triple G for whatever our reasons were. But if you go the other way, you got to draw.
You got to draw, definitely. So you don't have 118 and 112.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking 2 rounds. So on our scorecards, which were 1 round, because on the judges' scorecard, there was a judge that had 115, 113. So he had, 1 round would have made the difference for him to make it a draw. 2 rounds would have made it a draw for us. So when you're talking about 2 rounds in a 12-round fight, that's a close fight. 116, 112 is a close fight. There's no question about it. The fact that Adelie Bird scored at 118, 110, that's what it's a robbery, it's a travesty, it is, blah, 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 blah. And everybody forgot the other 2 scorecards. There's 3 judges. Just because Adelie Bird was way off, because you can't possibly, I'm cool with 8 rounds to 4, but 10 rounds to 2, no way in hell. There's no way that Canelo won 10 rounds in that fight. I mean, whatever.
No way.
Whatever.
No way.
Anyway,
no way.
Some of the other topics here in this email, Anthony, that Deontay Wilder said, he says, if Joshua knocks me out, if Joshua can knock me out in 3, basically he says, if Joshua can knock me out in 3 rounds, why are you guys stalling to fight me? This is Deontay Wilder claiming that Anthony Joshua is stalling to fight him. And this is such a BS thing, Sal, and I'll tell you why. The main reason why Anthony Joshua didn't want to fight Deontay Wilder right now was one reason, and that's because he had made an agreement with his title, the IBF, that he had to fight Kubrat Pulev. Pulev already stepped aside not once but twice to avoid his mandatory position. So I think that Anthony Joshua is just owning up to what he owes, living up to what he owes, whatever. The same cannot be said to Deontay Wilder. The ordered fight for Deontay Wilder was Luis Ortiz that the WBC all of a sudden said no, and now they're ordering Stavern, who himself had stepped aside from Deontay. So if anybody knows about stepping aside in the rules, it should be Deontay Wilder.
Well, absolutely, and those. Hey, you speak from experience, and that's exactly what should be said and done.
The other thing that he said was that Joshua is either scared of Deontay or he's doping, meaning that he's on performance-enhancing drugs. Now, see, this is my point.
I don't like the accusation.
Yeah,
that I do not like.
No, and the thing is that a lot of people have felt, and I'm not going to mention his name, but a lot of people have felt that when fighters point the finger to another fighter for cheating, doping, whatever, generally it's them that are cheating.
It's them.
And the truth of the matter is Anthony Joshua is certainly not. I don't think there's a heavyweight pro out there today that's scared of Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder's team is scared of a lot of heavyweights to put in with their guy because they know that their guy has no chin and has yet to be really pummeled to the body. Make the fight. Make the fight. If it was as easy as AJ saying, I want the fight, let's fight, the fight would have been made. There's too many politics, and most of them are on Deontay's side.
True, and I give you that. I give you that one right there, pal.
I just think that Deontay Wilder's team is overprotecting him. Hold that thought. I don't know how we got back to Deontay Wilder today. I was supposed to be talking about Chris Eubank Jr., but that's another story. I'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
This is important news for people who had a hip replacement and then had to have additional surgery as the result of a faulty hip implant or were diagnosed with high levels of metal in the blood, known as metallosis. You may have a right to a cash award and medical expenses. If you have been diagnosed with high levels of metal in your blood or have required more surgery because of hip implant failure, call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now. Our first consultation is free and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are standing by.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. Don't forget, join me up at the Turning Stone on October 21st. I'm going to be ringside watching the HBO boxing event. The two main guys I'm going to see is Jezreel Corrales and, of course, my man Demetrius Andrade, a guy that doesn't fight enough, in my opinion. So make sure you get tickets. Go to the Turning Stone box office and buy yourself some tickets. Demand a Billy C. discount. Or you can just visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Turning Stone banner. Drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Let me know where you're sitting, and I'll come and try and find you. Maybe we'll have a scotch or two. We're talking about Deontay Wilder again today, Sal, and it's sad. I wish. Muhammad Ali was successful at, using the mouth, to promote, but he did it in such a different manner than the way it's done today. And I find it hard to believe that the fan base would fall for the kind of, lame stuff that these guys say, like the words that come out of Wilder's mouth, that everybody's afraid of him, et cetera, et cetera.
Like that, may cause some controversy, may get some attention, but the bottom line is, Bill ultimately he's got to put his money where his mouth is, or his fist where his mouth is, and that's where hopefully we'll be able to see. But until that day, we got to listen to his lip and just imagine what it would be like if he fought a real fighter.
Yeah, well, I mean, we would hope it would be. I mean, that's what we're waiting to see, my man. But
I want to see him fight Anthony Joshua just like you do, and that would be a telltale about where they each stand, respectively, in the level. I mean, that they're at, and I am one that. I don't think it's going to be an automatic KO for Anthony Joshua within 3 rounds. I'm not saying Deontay Wilder is going to beat Joshua, but I think he will do better than what you may anticipate. Just because I don't think Deontay Wilder is all who he believes he is, but I don't think he is short of what a lot of his fans. I don't think he's too short of what a lot of people hope he is.
Well,
I think he's better than what I think we haven't seen the best Deontay Wilder because he hasn't challenged himself. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think that Deontay Wilder has the tools to be a really good fighter.
That's what I'm saying.
If I was the manager of Deontay Wilder, I would have now. This is me saying this without knowing what they've seen in the gym. They very well may have brought in some sparring partners that made them make some decisions about Deontay that I at least don't know about. But if I'm the manager of Deontay Wilder, or if I'm his promoter, which I very well could be, I mean, I'm licensed to do that. I would have wanted to increase his level of opposition a little more. Now, he's already got a belt, so theoretically he's a champion, and he shouldn't be cherry-picking opponents. He should be fighting mandatories or the biggest names out there. And, he hasn't even done that. You could make an argument that the mandatory that he's fighting now in Stavern is the first. I can't recall of another mandatory that the WBC has made him fight. It was supposed to be Luis Ortiz, but anyway, it is what it is. You're not going to get better if you don't fight better opposition. You're going to stay stagnant, and that's what's happened. And I do agree that he does have the tools. He's got a long reach. He's got a decent jab when he uses it, and of course he's got the punching power. And he's athletic. He's an athletic guy. So I don't know. Programming note, make sure you guys remember we are not doing a live show tomorrow, but we will be back on Wednesday. Our blast from the past is former World Junior Flyweight Champion Humberto Gonzalez. It was a request from one of our listeners. If you have a request for the blast from the past, just drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Just remember, if you take the time to write an email, we'll take the time to read it and comment on it. On this day, you know what? We got, let's do this. We got a trivia question.
Oh, boy. I like that.
We got a copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game on the line. I have a tough one. This is a well, this one's a tough one, I'll tell you this.
I'm ready.
What two famous actors once shared an apartment with the late, great Jack Dempsey? What two famous actors shared an apartment with the late, great Jack Dempsey? If you know this answer, and you're the first one to email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. So I know I did this. I'm not going to ask you your answer, Sal, because
that's why I'm laughing, because my canned answer is Jack Dempsey. He's
I know.
But I would guess Errol Flynn.
Yeah, well, Errol Flynn is a great answer, but incorrect. What two famous actors once shared an apartment with Jack Dempsey? I suggest you go and look back at the era in which Jack Dempsey fought, and then look at the famous actors there. Good luck to everybody on that one. Email me the correct answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. On this day in boxing history, October 9th, Willie in the chat room says, Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau? No. On this day.
Yes, that's about the same era.
Yeah,
that's great. That's great.
No, it's not the same era. Both of these are. What's in all of your coffees? I want some.
That would be a multiple odd.
I want some of that. On this day, October 9th in 2004, Marcus Beyer knocks out Christian Savania in the 6th round to regain the WBC World Super Middleweight title, and that took place in Germany on this day in 2004. On this day in 2002, Salim Mekikone wins a 12-round decision over Asmo Sato to win the WBA World Junior Featherweight title. It took place in Tokyo, Japan. On this day in 1992, Eliseo Julio wins a 12-round decision over Eddie Cook to win the WBA World Bantamweight title. It took place in Argentina. It took place in Cartagena, Colombia. On this day in 2000, Leo Gomez knocks out Hideki Todaka in the 7th round to win the WBA World Junior Bantamweight title, and that took place in Japan. On this day in 1939, Henry Armstrong knocks out Al Manfredo in the 4th round to retain his World Welterweight title, and that took place in Des Moines, Iowa. On this day in 1939. And finally, on this day, October 9th in 1915, Les Darcy knocks out Fred Dyer in the 6th round to retain his world middleweight title, and that took place at Sydney, Australia. I'm sorry, I was going to ask you. That took place at Sydney Stadium, and guess where that is? Sydney, Australia, of course. But anyway, hey, man, that concludes our show for today. So make sure you and guess what? If my man Boxer Hutch emails me the answer he just put in the chat room, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Right now, he's going to find that he just won himself, and I never do this, I never give it away, but he might have found that he just won himself a copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game because the guy knows his boxing. That's all I'm going to say. Email me quickly before somebody reads it. Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Hey, that concludes our show for today. Don't forget, we're not doing a live show tomorrow, but make sure you tune in Wednesday morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.